Elizabeth, I was just about to ask, are you recording? Because we share that with our listserv, the recordings. Also, please share your email address in the chat if you would like to stay in touch with Sarah and I. The library won't share your information with us. So if you'd like us to communicate with you, or you want to stay in touch with me and Sarah, with Sarah and I, just make sure you drop your email in the chat. We did do a roundup, and the first two people that registered or at least logged on, but with the first two people will get a copy of our book, of my book. We will mail that to
Shirley and John.
Okay, well, Shirley and John, you have all got your green juice, yes, and I have a protein shake with my micronutrients. Same here. Good way to start the day.
I'll shake.
So,
no.
Oh yes.
Just water.
Yep. Email Elizabeth. Don't put it in the chat. Email Elizabeth where you would like your autograph book to be mailed, and that will go out in regular mail. Thank you all. Good morning. Thank you all for coming back. For some of you that have been here before, and I will be copying your email address. Thank you, Andrea. I see you're in the chat. Shirley's in the chat. Thank you so much. We had a wonderful session on May 5th. And we are now back at the conclusion of becoming a consultant. My name is Nicole Jean Christian. I have had my own consulting firm here on Long Island since 2009. We will talk a little bit more about how and what, but right now we're going to start with who we are, what we're going to do today, and then we're going to go right into the meat of what I call the sandwich. So I have 15 years of experience in economic development, working at every level of government, multidisciplinary across disciplines, housing, entrepreneurship. I'm an award-winning grant writer and manager for 6 villages here on Long Island, 3 colleges in New York State, and clients across the Northeast from Buffalo all the way to Baltimore. So this was something that really was birthed out of, believe it or not, Sarah's daughter and my niece decided to go into business after they graduated college. And we started putting our thoughts down on crib sheets for them to start thinking about, as young entrepreneurs, what were their options? What could they do? They're both extremely successful. I'm proud of my godchild and my niece. They're both under 30 entrepreneurs. They've worked for other people, but they have their gig on the side. And this becoming a consultant really came out of that. And through that, we've been talking with and connecting with folks like Andrea and Shirley, people now that I found out about John, that are mid-career, that are seasoned professionals, that are looking for another way to build their brand and to make money. The global financial crisis really never ended. It continued and rippled all the way through to the pandemic. And if you look at the reports, it measures itself out. One of the main areas, one of the few areas of our economy that is growing is entrepreneurship. More people than ever are going into business. Why? Because we now have embraced this idea that you don't have to have a storefront to be a successful business. You can do there's even dark restaurants now. My brother is a 25-year retired restaurant, worked in New York City as a chef. He's now consulting with what they call dark restaurants. These are restaurants that change their menu every month, and they cook their food off-site, and it's delivered to you and arranged as though you're in a restaurant for large parties, party of 2, 10, 12, or 15. So what we're doing now is really giving you some insight, some tools and direction on how you can take your experience and you can translate it into this new model and environment where we are, which is never going to go back the same. I'm going to tell you that it will never go back to the way it was pre-pandemic. The pandemic came, unlike a natural disaster that comes and leaves. The pandemic, health crises like this are going to come, they're going to linger and possibly return. So we have to be prepared. So today is all about how do you build a brand, how do you attract clients, and how do you make that money? How do you create the financial footprint that you need? So that's a little bit about myself. I graduated from Marymount University, which is how I met this beautiful young woman that I'm in business with now. 28 years of friendship, 10 years of partnership in business. I have my master's from George Mason as well. So I lived in DC for almost 20 years and moved back home to New York and started my business here on Long Island. So Sarah, just introduce yourself and share a little bit about Uncensored Network, and it will go right into the agenda.
Okay, so my name is Sarah Dowd, and I have been a business owner since 2012. I run a $1 million business that is a behavioral and mental health agency. So I am in a social work field, and we help children and families in need. We get a lot of referrals from social services, from the courts, as well as just people going through a difficult time in life. I've worked my way up through. As we go through this class today, you'll see that I started as a gig and a consultant. So I worked for another agency, and then I became an entrepreneur when I started my agency and incorporated. And now as I built my business, I now have a team of people that work for me, probably 30 consultants that work for me, as well as some full-time employees. And I've built this business, and it's still expanding. I have I have 2 offices, and we have 4 locations that we serve clients in. And it's mostly community-based. So just as Nicola said earlier, during this pandemic, we've had to really get, creative with how to continue to do business. And it's interesting that we basically shut down for a period of months during the pandemic. But since that time and getting creative, my business has brought in more money than even before the pandemic. So it was actually a blessing for me. It gave us time to kind of slow down, revamp, figure out new ways to deal with things. Nicole and I also co-own a brand called Domesticology, and we work together on Uncensored Network. That is a media company that you can download the app and watch hosts of different topics that we've discussed through our Domesticology brand. And you can download the app on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android, YouTube, Facebook Live, iHeartRadio. But we also have, through our journey, we have found a lot of people that we also host their particular shows or education series on Uncensored Network. So that is also an opportunity for people to do commercials, to sell their brands, to also, we have yoga, someone that, forwards us a yoga class every day, and we get tons of people watching. And so there's different opportunities, and the more you can figure out what your genre is of what you want to do, the easier it will be to kind of branch off with your own brand.
Thank you, Sarah. So today, our agenda is pretty meaty. We have now talked about who we are, what we do. Last month, we asked you to bring back your thoughts and ideas about affiliation, association, and membership. We're going to talk about affiliation for the 3 stages of maturity. First, as an entrepreneur, you really have to understand that there's 3 stages here that you can develop. It's not just a one-size-fits-all entrepreneurship platform. There's 3 stages of maturity that Sarah and I have both actually gone through. We're going to talk about affiliation. We're going to take a quick breathe and stretch break, then go right into association and membership, and then about building your brand, because building your brand is how you transition through a pandemic and make more money than before. My business has exploded since the pandemic. I am now in a position I shared with everyone last month. I am completely transitioning my business to an online platform. And I had some tech issues last week. Sarah knows a little bit about it. I don't even want to relive the trauma, but I look at it as the universe's way of moving me along, because that was something I was supposed to be working on since April. And I had to get everything together now for my IT person to now transition me completely online. So building a brand is how you build your stability and resilience. Then we'll have discussion and Q&A, and then we'll take it from there. So today is about the steps you can take to connect with clients as a consultant. So there's 3 stages of development, which I referenced earlier. We talked about this in May. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Most of us start as a freelancer or a gigger, which is how I started. You work full-time or you work for someone else and you do something on the side. You make a little bit of extra money, maybe not as much as you make in your 9 to 5, but you make enough that you're kind of testing the waters. At that stage, you can become a sole proprietor, which is what I did, which is essentially a legal, it's where you report your taxes as miscellaneous income. Unfortunately, you get taxed twice as a person and as a business. It's one of the most liable areas, as far as your financial, but it's the easiest. It's the easiest. You just get an EIN number and you can get your checking account and you're in business. Most of us start that way. That's what I would call a micro business, where you're gigging, you're working for someone else, and you're getting your feet wet on the side. That stage can last anywhere from a year to 10 years. Some people stay at the micro level. Some people stay for a year, 2 years before they go to the next level. Entrepreneurship, where I'm at, is where you no longer work for anyone else. You are now able to do your gig or your freelance work, and it matches or exceeds what you made full time. So when I was a micro business, I had a government job, good government job, quote unquote, good, with pension and all of that. I worked full time. I did my business on the side. It took about 2 years. And my business on the side exceeded my income full time. And I made the transition at that point. Some people make the transition completely at 60%. If they make 100,000 and their business makes 60 grand, they transition. I waited until it exceeded what I brought in every month. The next stage of entrepreneurship, you can be a sole proprietor or you can incorporate. A lot of folks think if I incorporate, I have to hire people. No, you don't. I'm incorporated. You don't need to hire anybody. It gives you the added protection because the corporation is now an entity and you can't be sued, or there's protections and there's tax implications that are favorable. And it allows you to easily duplicate yourself. So you can hire someone, you can hire a gigger, you can get a full or part-time employee, but you at the stage of entrepreneurship, you can be a sole proprietor or you can incorporate. A lot of folks ask, well, when you do business for yourself on your own, a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm going to do my business plan, I'm going to incorporate, I'm going to do all this, well, gigging and freelancing is a really easy way to get your feet wet. So you can determine if it's feasible for you to go all in at this stage. When I started, it wasn't feasible for me to go all in and incorporate and do all these fantastic ideas. I needed to start reasonable, 10 to 12 hours a week. That's all I needed, $1,000. I wanted to see if I could net $1,000. I exceeded that. I exceeded $2,000 a week in less than a year. But the point is, you have to think about what your number is. We talked about that in May. What is your number? Remember, we talked about that. You have to know what is your number per week that you are happy with, not comfortable, happy with living. I know what my number is per week for me to bring in, whether it's as a gigger, entrepreneur, or working for someone else if I decide to subcontract. So understand the two levels: freelancing gig, baseline. You're working for someone else, you're doing your thing on the side. Entrepreneurship, you've now transitioned from working for somebody else, and now you're working 100% in your business. And then the final stage, Sarah will talk about, is business owner. And understand, these are the stages that Sarah and I have identified because we lived through it. So it's not theoretical for us. This is real. This is what we actually did. So Sarah is now at the stage of what I call business owner. She's at the highest level, which is where we are, where we work towards.
So when I wanted to just go back, and one additional thing for entrepreneur and freelancing and gigging is you are self-employed. So you are a 1099 contractor. When you become a business owner, you can no longer be a 1099. You then have to become a W-2 under your own business. And
very good point. I forgot that. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Because I think people get confused with freelance, gig, and entrepreneur. You're still self-employed as a 1099. So you have your own business and you can receive tax benefits and everything as being self-employed. But when you become a business owner, as an entrepreneur, there's only so many hours in the day. And as a gigger, there's only so many hours in the day. I can't work, 28 hours in a day to make the amount of money that I might need. So when you become a business owner, it gives you the opportunity to duplicate yourself and to hire people so that you can then extend your business. And that's where I call it, I'm making money when I sleep, because I have multiple people out there working the hours so that I can do fun things like these seminars instead of being out working with clients one-on-one. But it does give you an opportunity to really extend your business, expand your business. It gives you, and we'll talk later on about when, duplicating yourself, but it allows you to have a host of different services that you may provide, or different, because you can then bring on people that are experts in other arenas that you're partnering with, that you can say, oh, well, Sarah, you're an expert in, family reunification, but I might have someone else that's a specialist in trauma. And I can say, well, here's someone that has, trauma expertise, and let me, put you in front of them. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, you're still responsible for taxes. You're still responsible for health insurance and all of that. So, but I have 1099 contractors that I have on board, as well as W-2s. So it really gives you an opportunity to expand and bring more money in while you're running the business.
Thank you. And one last point, Sarah made a good point. And we can talk about this later, maybe at the Q&A for those of you that might be interested. John referenced, entrepreneurs don't have pensions. Well, Sarah and I are defying that. We have connected with a financial, we've got a financial agent that we use who specializes in entrepreneurship. We have now we're building our own $1 million platform, $1 million portfolios that will not die with us. So a pension dies with you. We are creating financial vehicles for our legacy and our progeny that will last beyond us. Now, it takes some planning and some discipline, I won't lie. But as far as health insurance, life insurance, and a pension, all three of those we have individually in a portfolio. So don't think, because I had that issue, oh, I'm not going to have a pension. Well, you will, but the way that you create it is going to be different. It's going to take a little bit more discipline on your part. So don't think you're giving away financial security by becoming an entrepreneur. There are many vehicles now that are very favorable to us as entrepreneurs that I would encourage you to look into. So thank you, Sarah, for saying that. About the tax implications, I didn't think about that. It's very important. And about your future. What is it going to be when you decide that you may not want to work in this particular field anymore? And now we talked last month about how do you position yourself for clients as a consultant? There's three main areas for you to look at when it comes to attracting and retaining a client base: association, affiliation, and membership. And a lot of times we forget this because we're so busy doing the work that we forget about how to attract and retain clients. I have a full client roster, but my mentor constantly tells me, you can't get lost in the weeds of running a business. You have to be out there, Nicole. You need to make sure that you're developing your skill, you're taking classes, you're mentoring the next generation, you are associating and affiliating and joining organizations that lead this industry. He's constantly telling me that. And I'm glad that I've made that time break in my month to do those things, to go to the Chamber of Commerce, to go to the International Economic Development Council, to go to conferences, present papers, all of that. So understand, association is the baseline, mid-level maturity is affiliation, top really is membership. That we have it in reverse because we wanted to talk about it from baseline to senior level. Association affiliation, and membership?
So association is really that personal connection. It's a relationship that you have established with people in your in your everyday life. When you go out for coffee, you want to be able to share your brand. What is it that you are an expert in? We've talked about in other classes, we've talked about news articles, we've talked about awards, we've talked about, so many different ways to promote yourself. But also when you're talking to someone and you have your circle of people, you're going to associate yourself with them, and also they're going to then say, hey, Sarah's an expert in this. When they're having small talk or coffee with anyone, it is kind of the personal connection that you're able to share. This is what I do. This is why I'm an expert at it. And then the word gets around. But if you just sit behind a computer all day and you don't get out there and meet people and it's not to say go blow your horn everywhere, but you want to be able to, and I apologize for my dog in the background, but you want to really be able to share who you are so that others will learn who you are. So everyone in this class now knows, oh, if you need mental health services or you're going through a divorce or you have problems, Sarah has a business that does that. Go talk to her. Or, library expertise, we're going to go to Elizabeth. And so you associate with people and you move along that process. And you really just kind of keep your name out there. Go to different, get on Facebook or get on different social media and join, small businesses in marketing or small business associations. And then that way you're just able to put your expertise out there, and then people will start to realize or understand this is who they need to go to.
And in addition, when we're talking about personal relationship and connection, we are talking about your circle of influence. We are talking about mentorship and those that you regard as friends, even your social outlets. Most of you know I'm a ballroom dancer. I've been dancing ballroom since 2004. In all styles, mainly American Smooth, a little bit of American Smooth, but mainly social dance, which is salsa, bachata, and hustle. I have met many clients on the dance floor. Dance is a universal language. I've met folks on the dance floor that have referred me. They've hired me. I've hired them. My attorney is actually a fellow salsero. I have two attorney friends that are both salsa dancers. One is my corporate attorney, one is my private attorney. But your personal circle of influence, really look at what and who is in your circle as far as friendship, mentorship. Let's start with mentorship. Every entrepreneur that I have studied, every successful entrepreneur that I've studied has had a mentorship circle. So you've got to be talking to someone who's where you want to be, where whatever that may be. For me, I know where I want to be at 60, 65, 70. Both of my mentors are over 65, extremely successful, well-known in economic development internationally, not just regionally here in New York. Took me years to build these relationships with them, but mentorship is a part of that personal relationship. Are you mentoring? Are you mentoring the next generation? We're like cups, once you overflow, you're useless. So in order for you to build more skill, you have to give out what you have. And that's what I've been doing now, is mentoring the next generation of economic development professionals, creating these relationships where I give them my insight. I'm not threatened by teaching somebody else what I do, because that frees me up to learn something else. So mentorship is a two-way street. Do you have a mentor? Who are you mentoring? You have to think about being in a stage where you're learning and you're also contributing to somebody else's enrichment. Your friendship. When we talk about friendships, I always joke that that's like a charged word for me, because we use that. Everybody says in America, everybody hugs everybody. There's no handshake. I love you. I love you. You're my friend. let's dial it back and really be more deliberate about who is in our circles. Not that we have to choose friends that are successful. That's not what I mean. You have your friendships, people that know you. That's the character building, the folks that know you, knew you back when, have watched you develop and are your cheerleaders. That's one circle. And then you have friendship, these people that you socialize with based on shared interest. Again, figure out what your shared interest is and have an outlet instead of sitting at home in front of a computer or cooking dinner every night. Whatever it may be, you have to make that time. Association is joining as a partner, a friend, or a companion. So association is personal relationship. These are all ways to put you in front of people or to be connected so that you can actually be referred. People can refer to you. You can refer to others and you become a resource. That's one level. So we're going to take a quick breathe and stretch break. No more than about 3 minutes. Use the restroom if you need to. And when we come back, we're going to talk specifically about affiliation and membership. What are some of the organizations that you should be thinking about joining? And how should you be looking at affiliation? All right, so let's just take a quick 2-minute break and talk a little bit. You'll be here. I'm just going to probably use the restroom and stretch a little bit. We'll be back in 3 minutes. It is now 10:36. We'll be back at 10:39. All right. I hope that Patrice Rushen let you dance and let the music take you. That's Patrice Rushen, 1978. Can you imagine? What a talent. She's been 1979. Let the music take me, Patrice Rushen. All right, and we are back. I hope everyone had a moment to take a breath and maybe stretch a little bit. Please make sure you take out your homework or start sketching out your notes to get to the discussion in about 15 minutes about affiliation, association, and membership. And we just talked about association, what that is. Sarah's going to introduce the concept of affiliation, and I'll talk a little bit about how to do it.
So with affiliation, it's kind of, we look at these, I personally look at these words as a stepping stone. And so when you have the association, it's kind of, your daily activities and you're associating with people to get your brand out there. And then when you become an affiliation, when you're affiliating with somebody, it is allowing you to be a leader in your in your expertise. So when you become affiliated with something, you're closely associated with people. You use your time, your talent, and your treasure to be a leader in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
You're also you're known as the expert. It's when you're around people that are needing your, like I said, time, talent, and treasure to be the expert in the group.
And so with affiliation, as Sarah talked about, we're using the 3 T's to establish ourselves as a leader in the industry. We meet people every day and we forget about how to build the relationships to do these things. So you start a business and then you're clueless about how you're going to make money. That's what everybody asks Sarah and I. How do I get clients? I say, well, where do you go when you're not at work or with your family? And besides, in church, synagogue, and the masjid counts too. Where do you go besides being with your family and working? That is going to tell you where your time for association, affiliation, and membership is going to come from. So you got to be very deliberate about those 3 areas. So time, talent, and treasure, the 3 T's, I will admit it, I cribbed this from the Episcopal Church. One of my board members of an organization, I'm the executive director of a small nonprofit. They had a yearly retreat in his church, and his pastor talked about the 3 T's. How you are a leader through how you spend your time, how you contribute your skill, and how you provide financial resources to things that are important to you. So that's what affiliation is, being closely associated with an industry based on how you contribute your time. It could be volunteering on a board. It could be possibly joining an organization and helping them with a conference like Strictly Business or something like that. But the idea is that you use these 3 T's to become more deeply connected to being a leader in your industry. You want to also identify the decision makers in your particular industry and make sure that you're affiliating with those decision makers. So in economic development, I know the chair of Empire State Development, I know the deputy, I know the Department of State, the commissioner, deputy commissioner. I know all the decision makers in my industry, coastal management, environmental protection fund. I know all those folks. So identify the decision makers in your industry and be sure that you're contributing your time, your talent, and your treasure in this industry, and you will automatically be seen eventually as a leader because people will see you giving, contributing, learning, and sharing. So Sarah and I were hoping we would break this down for you so that you can see how valuable your time is. We waste a lot of time, and time is something you never get back. So why not use it in a way that creates a platform for you to build your client base? Membership. So membership is based on the 3 areas of industry, education, and experience. Membership usually requires you to have a track record in your industry. You need to probably have some educational training and a certain level of experience in order to join. So Sarah, share a little bit about the benefit of membership, and then I can talk about what it is and what it looks like.
So the benefit of membership is it really gives you credibility. It gives you referrals as well as references. So in your industry, so in my industry, I may join a board, a board of supervisors here in Virginia, that's what they call it. But, also having national membership into the world of social work, being accredited by an agency for your business, gives you that level of credibility. And when you become a member of something, or in your particular industry, it allows you to work. You're a leader amongst many in the same industry. So you're not just one of many. I mean, you don't stand out as you did in affiliation and association. You are now amongst your peers that are all in the same industry that you are in this membership.
Mm-hmm. You have now joined forces. You know, like Sarah said, you're one of many. You've now joined forces. You've wedded and welded your experience, your leadership ability to the industry as a whole. And this is where your influence in your circle grows exponentially. So why is it important? Well, first of all, you know that, what was that? American Express used to say membership has its benefits. Well, what are the benefits of membership? There's three main reasons why membership in your industry, in an organization, is so important. Number one, it adds credibility, because anybody can call anyone in economic development in the grant writing world and ask about me, and it's positive. So I have credibility because everybody that knows me knows something good. So it builds credibility and membership. Chambers of Commerce. I'm also a member. I'm studying now to take my certification to be an economic development professional. I don't know what this certification may be in your field. I know in social work, you could be LCSW. You know, there's all these levels of certification that you can attain that lends itself to your credibility. That's number one. Number two is referrals, okay? Being able to be referred to or refer others. So when you're a member, sometimes the benefit is certain announcements, certain opportunities are only discussed in that group, right? So the International Economic Development Council, there are contracting opportunities and job opportunities that are only announced among the members. There's about 5,000 members worldwide. So membership also allows you to have access, referrals, and then your references. When, you know, it always surprised me when people I haven't talked to in years call me and say, oh, will you be my reference? And the first thing I say is, you don't know anybody else you spoke to more recent than me? We haven't worked together in 10 years. So what does that say about you? You don't have a reference from last month or the month. I can give you references right now. People I got grants for 2 months ago. So references are also strategic. When you're a member of an organization, you've joined forces, you want to now work with these folks so that you can get a professional, relevant, current reference. And even as a contractor, I bid on contracts with the city and the state. They always ask for references, personal and professional. And then they get even more specific and say, a client that worked with you in the past year. They actually ask those questions. So I have to continue to build my credibility with clients by saying, I'm a member of this organization. I am the vice chair of this committee. I'm the secretary of. All of those things allow you a platform to gain clients. All of these things, that's what we talked about: association, affiliation, and membership. This is how you get clients. I will tell you, should you spend thousands of dollars on a website? I'd rather you talk to Sue Glenn or someone like her and do social media, because the website really is just a virtual business card. That's all it is to people, for people to see if you're for real, and for you to toot your own horn and say what you do. It's a business card. That's all it is, really, in this day and age, at least in my field. What people really look at is my social media footprint. I get thousands of visits a week. So when you talk about branding and building your brand, we shared with you a few weeks ago in May about the ways you can build a brand. So you got the areas of how you can get a client. Now, how do you build a brand? You build and sustain your brand by one of three ways: by duplicating, creating, or automating. Sarah and I have studied entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs in all industries, and they do one of these three or all three. They either automate, they create, or they duplicate. So automation is scaling up. That's creating a situation where I am now, where I'm transitioning my business interface virtually, so that I can do this with clients instead of driving and flying all over Tarnation. I can do this in a more strategic and laser-like time span with my clients. So I'm scaling up virtually. So one way is to scale up your business. so that you don't have to do as much hands-on. Another way is by creating a product that people can buy, or creating an investment opportunity. You know, John talked about all his years of service in the restaurant industry. His track record in Sexy Salad, to me, is the $1 million brand, not the salad. It's the concept. It's the concept of Sexy Salad. The salads are great. I go there all day, every day. My sorority done spent thousands. We wish we could have had a Sexy Salad credit card. We would have used it. It was so good. But that, to me, is not the selling point. Really, the product is the concept. All of these salads, you could sell that. You could duplicate that. You could create a franchise like Sarah, incorporate and give out the Sexy Salad name. You know, incorporate it, trademark it like she did with Domesticology. It's trademark. Nobody can use Domesticology, only Sarah and I. So creating a product or an investment opportunity and then duplicating yourself by incorporating, that's the last part where Sarah is about the duplication.
When you're, we talked earlier about duplicating when you have a business, but even when you go back to creating, when you listen, you have to be listeners. So when you're meeting with a client or you're meeting with someone to discuss what it is that you're doing, you want to really be able to listen, because you want to come up with a plan that's going to suit that one particular client. So my business, we specialize in treating families individually. It's not a cookie cutter service that we give everybody to. Okay. So we come up and we get creative with our particular brand. So my brand is specialized in being unique and different and doing things, thinking outside the box. And that's what my business Transitions is known for when we come in. So when you are duplicating, you're able to recreate yourself. I love to have young college students that just graduated, that need a year of experience, and they come to me and they want me to mentor them. They want to work for me, and they start small. And they're able to, go with some of our counselors. They shadow counselors, but we're duplicating by creating more services. We're creating people that are just like me, or have that same philosophy or mindset around what it is that we do. So you're able to duplicate and grow at your business to whatever level you want it to go to. Nicole and I are looking at, bringing my business to New York. How would that look? How could we do that? And it's, there's a lot of different things that you have to do when it comes to mental health and physician run businesses. However, you can expand, you can partner. Nicole would be the head of New York. I would be the head of DC, Virginia, and Maryland area. But you can then expand, just like she said for John Robertson, is having that, having your salad company be all over the world. That name is hot.
I'm telling you, it is.
It's catchy. It's great. It's sexy. Everything that's there. I can tell you right now, I would love to own a Sexy Salad shop.
Yeah.
Just so I can say I do. You're muted.
So wait a minute. Yeah, he needs to trademark that. I think Sexy Salad could be the Subway of salads. Mm-hmm. As a franchise. You know what I mean? And I think the main point that we want to leave with you is that duplication really is the goal. That's where we want to elevate to. We want to get to a place where we can do more creating and less implementation.
As small or as big as you want it to be.
Right.
So duplicating your entire business is on the huge scale. Right. Duplicating yourself is on the small. So you can work your way up, but having multiple businesses across the country would be ideal. I mean, that's millions right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's where I'm at. As Sarah said, I'm duplicating one element of my business, because you have to think about what is feasible for you. As a grant writer, me hiring 10 grant writers doesn't make me more money. It's economies of scale. Writing is not something that you make. Ask any writer on Broadway. Writing is not how you make money. It's technique. You make money through technique. So that's what I'm automating, is the technique. It's the idea, it's the concept. And that's what we're saying about Sexy Salads, about the Healthy Friends Network with Andrea, is think more about the concept and how that technique and concept can be translated in another way, or by duplicating yourself or automating, scale up like I'm doing. I'm still going to be the face, but I'm going to create an opportunity where it's less time on me to have that interaction with someone. So now we're going to open up. This is your opportunity. We had talked a few weeks ago about doing your homework, or maybe even your thoughts just now as we were talking about association, affiliation, and membership. And I asked each of you to identify an area for each of these where you can associate, affiliate, or join. Anybody have a question or comment about what we shared? Or, well, let's start with these three about association, affiliation, and membership. And let me, I have to change the screen share so that I can see the chat. Give me one moment. I have to do it like this. Yeah, I have to do it this way in order to see it. All right. Any questions or comments about those three: affiliation, association, and membership?
Oh, I don't know if everybody did the homework, Nicole, Jean.
Well, no, you don't have to do the homework. We can just talk about it. Where do you think, you don't have to have had anything prepared, but it was something to leave, a morsel to leave you with. But what are your thoughts about how you can capitalize maybe in these three areas? What are you thinking?
You want me to put in the chat or speak?
No, speak out. Yeah, it's only 12 of us, so you could take yourselves off mute, definitely.
Okay, cool. So in association, what I get out of it is it's your, like, I guess, like my LinkedIn friends and associates, or my circle of friends. Is that what the association is?
Yes.
Okay. And then affiliation, because I guess I'm figuring I'm getting them mixed up. Is that, so like I'm a part of the Long Island Food Council, I'm a part of National Coalition of 100 Black Women, AKA, Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, etc. So that, or is that membership?
Yeah, so anything where you are paying a membership fee and go through an orientation or interview process, like I'm a Delta, you're an AKA, we had there's rituals for that, right? There's an initiation process. That's membership.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's affiliation, it becomes affiliation because now we're connected to this group that we have a closely related emotional tie to, right? But affiliation on its own is no membership. So you don't necessarily have to pay. You're volunteering, you could possibly just be contributing to some sort of an annual event each year. That's a little bit more community-based. Membership is where you actually are required. There's like a standard of procedure for letting you in, and there's rules about your behavior. So I was just put on the Mather Hospital board. Very happy about that, Northwell Health. I'm on the Mather Hospital board, and it took a year. Mm-hmm. It took an entire year of approvals. They talked to me last year, and my first board meeting was in April. So there's rules about my participation on the board. Although it's not a membership, I look at that as a membership, not an affiliation, because there was an orientation, there was a screening process, and there's rules of engagement when it comes to my behavior outside of, which is why I'm very careful about what I allow to be published about me, what I allow to be on social media. I'm a college professor. I'm on a major board, the largest healthcare organization in New York State, right? And I'm a published author. So I had to scrub my whole social media account about 4 years ago and create a private link just for my family and friends, and everything else is professional because I'm tied to these organizations like Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Long Island University, that have rules about my behavior and my image on social media. So that's membership.
Okay,
Very important,
okay.
but that's good. No, that's good, Andrea, because you're really starting to look at this critically now, like, okay, how am I spending the little bit of time that I have? You
Right.
know, am I doing it in an effective, deliberate, and strategic way?
Gotcha.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So the council that you're on, the National Food Network, those affiliations are very important. Because remember, that's time, talent, and treasure.
Right,
That's your 3 T's. That's affiliation.
right. And then like I'm on the National Association of Parliamentarian. I mean, so all of these organizations, there is a fee. So
Yep.
right. But like, even though that has nothing to do with food, or of course it's leadership
Everything has
and it's
everything to do with food, Andrea.
everything, right?
Everything has everything to do with food and health. This pandemic taught us that.
Yes,
So
yes,
don't,
yes, yes.
yeah, so don't feel that way.
That's
Every
true, that's
organization,
true.
make a list of all the organizations that you are a member with and have lunch or coffee with the president of all of them
Gotcha.
and tell them what you do. And I bet you there's a way, maybe there may be an opportunity for a Go Red Month, Heart Healthy,
Right.
meditation. I had a meeting with the county executive, Steve Ballone. County Executive Ballone had a meeting with, I don't know, must be 70 of us, nonprofit organizations that get grants from Long Island. This was during the pandemic. They had a mindful coach lead us through meditation
Right.
during the meeting. Rita, her name is Rita.
Rita,
She's
I know.
yeah, you know Rita. She is the first diversity officer for the county of Suffolk. He led us through a mindfulness 5-minute meditation before the meeting. So health has everything to do with everything you're a member of. So make a list, contact those presidents, and have coffee with each of them.
Gotcha, thanks.
Yep. Oh yeah, Elizabeth said, don't forget, the Miller Business Center can get a list of associations related to your field. If you're struggling with finding out who you should affiliate or associate with or join as a member, the Miller Business Center can give you a list.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, I'm a member, Elizabeth.
Yep.
So yes, thank you. Thanks for that reminder.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I have to go soon, but I was just gonna say that I did do the homework from last meeting, and I thought about affiliations, associations, and memberships, and I thought about particularly, I'm still someone's employee, but I'm someone's very good employee, and I have been spending my time in the last 2 jobs that I've had before this one, where I realized that I have, I guess, organically or naturally created some networks, and I sit through my role as an employee of the job that I have on different boards and councils. Now, while I'm there under someone's hat, it's still me there. So I definitely have been trying to fortify those. And when you talk about the relationships and like where you spend your time, so that when I do branch off into my own gigging and freelancing, I have already a small, albeit small, but it's professional ground to comb. And also within my school of training and things like that, I joined the NASW.
Oh,
And
nice.
I've been a member for a while. Actually, my membership just lapsed in April. I forgot to pay my dues, but I'll pay it. But you can still participate as a non-member in many, many ways. And in addition to that, my first master's is in counseling psychology, my bachelor's in psychology, my first master's in psychology, and I got my NSW, my MSW with nonprofit management as a focus, because I've always worked for nonprofits and I wanted to know the back end of it, so that going forward, I can have the structure and the experience to marry them together. So I've been looking for the next steps to join. I live in Brooklyn, so I'm just always sneaking into your Long Island things because of Professor Christian. But I find more value in what I learned with the Miller Business Institute and your classes than some of the things out here in Brooklyn. And I'm going to definitely join the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, yes.
Definitely join that. And I participate as much as possible in different conferences. A lot of them were virtual this year, but participate in different conferences and things like that. Through my job, I'm a member of.
Now remember, one thing you can do, Shirley, all these committees and event and organizations you're a member of, your employer can pay for your membership. But
That's what I've done. I've tried to do that.
Paying for my own individual.
Yes.
So when you're on their clock, you're on their clock, but then I joined individually. So don't forget, you can do that. So you've got your organization membership. That's your, you're responsible to do that.
Yeah, I'm on their job.
That's right. But then you join individually, and you can use it as an individual member of that organization in the evenings or weekends or on your lunch break, or you take, or maybe you could do a conference. Don't forget
and participate as a solo person. Yeah, all the organizations that I've worked on getting my job part of are ones that also have an individual tier. So I have that as my to check that off, because I wanted to know the ins, and then I know whether it's going to be effective for me. So one of them is AIRS, Alliance of Information and Referral Systems, which is like 211s, 311s of all, actually of North America. There are people from Canada too. So that is very interesting, because I work as part of a call center for the borough of Brooklyn. So so that kind of thing has been what I've working to kind of fortify, and looking for different coalitions that lend itself to what I'm trying to branch out in. So there's the New York Peace Institute and the Coro Leadership Organization, which I've applied to, but I can't commit the time fully. I have a 5-year-old.
Well,
So when
I was about to say, I guess Shirley's bringing up something important. I'm glad you actually listed out these organizations, because what we did not say, and thank you, Shirley, for reminding us, what Sarah and I should have said also is balance out the membership. So I only do 2 memberships a year. That's my time commitment. 2. One of them I serve on a committee, and the other one I want to chair. Oh, you have to go. All right, no problem. But no, that's good, Shirley. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Measure out your time. Don't join everything, but we'll see you soon, Shirley.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you. But one I will join every year I do 2. I'll be a member of. I always serve on a committee, and then I always work to chair a committee. So be very deliberate about what organizations you join based on your time commitment. That was a good point. I'm glad Shirley brought that up.
I will comment that I am so thrilled that I joined you today. That was absolutely wonderful.
John.
I've got a lot to learn. I've got plenty of time to learn it. But one thing that's kind of neat is some of the things that you mentioned, I found as you were mentioning them are things that I do, but I've never really identified them, as something that I should be also telling my client who's also starting out, that sure, I started with, a little gig here and there. I used to rent out little kitchens in, from bar owners who didn't want to run the kitchen. And, and that was and so without even knowing that I was following your plan, So it was really interesting and eye-opening. I look forward to, I think you said you had a third one, right? Coming up? Did you say?
Well, no, we did 2 parts for the spring, but yeah, before the summer, and then in the fall, we're going to work. I think Elizabeth wants to work on something for the fall. We don't have anything slated for the summer yet, but I did get your email address. You put your email in the chat.
We have chat disabled right now. If we can enable that, I'll put that in there.
All right. Yeah, give me your email address. I'll email you, and that way, if Sarah and I do anything over the summer, I'll let you know. But Sarah actually will be here this summer, and I will bring her the sexy salad.
Yay!
And I will let you know ahead of time, because I want her to have. I have a favorite. I'm not gonna bias her. I have my own favorite, but I will bring Sarah with me this summer. But I'm glad to hear that you're following some of these maximums. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but we were hoping that we could break this down so that folks can get an idea of, okay, I'm already spending time doing this. How do I spend my time a little bit better?
Well,
know?
you're setting me up for success. I know that I have to go to get involved in more organizations. I know that, professional organizations. I've always been one to continue my education, except lately. I don't know. With COVID, my head's been kind of screwy. Let's just get through COVID. But
Yep.
COVID's over. Let's get so the magazines. I got to get back to reading and going to the and the Long Island Food Council was mentioned earlier. I haven't been to a Long Island Food Council meeting in God knows how long. And even Elizabeth's upcoming event. You know what? I put down on my calendar. I'm going to make it. You got to get out there more.
Yes.
I've had my head buried in the sand just waiting for this to be over. But
Well, this was a good way. This was a good way to put your
I really agree.
back out. This was a good way to get yourself back out in this arena to be thinking about, and you're smart to be thinking about where you're going to transition, because you don't want to necessarily do what you're doing forever. You don't want to abandon the industry.
I can't. That's
You
the
just want to
truth.
change it.
I am going to, my bones are going to get sore, I'd love to, but I'm not going to be able to do it forever. I will have to. However, if you think about it, how long time really is, we're going to be living to ripe old age.
That's right.
I want to, I might not be able to physically handle the catering aspect in another 10, 15 years, but my knowledge, why not utilize that, and keep myself busy. So thank you for
That's right.
inspiring me and keeping me going. Appreciate that.
I'd love to have you come to the chamber. I'd like to keep in touch with you. Even in my sorority, we have an economic development committee. We do workshops every year, and we wanted to do something in the sorority and in the chamber about the restaurant industry, to help our restaurant, African American, Latino, well, they call it, what is it, BIPIC now? Black, Indigenous people of color, very large contingents of restaurant industry inclusion here on Long Island. And we wanted to do something to kind of help them figure out what their next, you would be a fantastic
I would
expert speaker.
love to help them.
You would be a
Goodness.
fantastic expert
Yep.
speaker to give them some idea of what to do. You've been through this now.
It'll give me some practice.
Yeah.
What I have to do is prepare. I have to prepare myself. What would be a good subject that they could really take away and really be of value to them. But I would love that invitation.
I'm gonna keep that in mind.
Thank you so
Now
much.
that I know you're open to doing that kind of thing. See, this is again affiliation.
Sure.
You see, now I know I would never have approached you before, but
Yeah.
now that I know you're open to this, Sarah and I, we are thinking about doing something with the local chamber here about the restaurant industry to help those restaurant owners recover and be more resilient. So thank you.
I would love to be part of that. So again, thank you so much for your time today. Elizabeth, thank you for sending out the invitations. I'm glad I saw that. Glad I was able to make it. And till we meet again, okay?
Yes.
I'll see you at your networking event, Elizabeth, okay?
And make
Good to
sure
see
you
you,
send
John. Thank you.
make sure you send Elizabeth your address, because you
Oh,
have,
did we open this
The
thing
chat-
now?
You should be able to chat. I don't know why.
Now we can now, yeah. So thanks.
and that
I'm
way
gonna
we
put
can
that in.
email you, we can mail you your book.
I have one more question.
Of course.
I'm in Long Island, but I can join the Brooklyn Chambers of Commerce, right? Because
If you live, work, worship, or do business, that's the basis for any chamber. You could do business. Listen, if you swipe a subway card, that's doing business. Everybody said, well, you don't do business in DC. I said, well, didn't I buy a train ticket and go to Union Street Station? That's business. That's my money. That's commerce. I do business there. So that's it. It's very creatively interpreted when it comes to me. But yes, all jokes aside, if you live, work, worship, or do business in or around in the Brooklyn, even the Women's Chamber of New York City. I remember the founder, Elizabeth Dabru, she created it that way so that women from all over the New York tri-state area could join.
Oh, okay, good. Because I'm going to try to tap into a lot of those schools in Brooklyn.
Absolutely. And I would recommend it. And make sure you write a book, get your book published, have your technique out there. It's very important. This was a great session. I enjoyed it.
Me too,
Elizabeth, thank
thanks.
you for having us.
Yes.
This was very good. And we'll be back again very soon. Good to see
Definitely.
you, John.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, you're
Sure.
welcome.
Thank you, guys.
I'm glad it helped. And Antoinette Jean Philippe, good to see you as well. Hope it helped you too.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.